Not just a car. I am the night automated roving robot. Car, if you prefer. I am the prototype of the car of the future.
All right, let's talk about the interface. Let's talk about some things that people are talking about. First and foremost, this interface, as of this video, is version 10. It's a version 10, or a sort of amalgam of version 10 and maybe a little bit of a version 11, because you see some color icons, some different UI elements, but effectively it's still version 10. It's not version 11. It's not a new software update. It's version 10, and it's maybe leading into or providing a segue into version 11. A lot of the things that you see here are very familiar to the Model 3 and Model Y owners. Model S and Model X owners, this is going to be pretty much brand new to you. The thing that is also familiar is the climate control. Climate control is here, and this is what it is. Similar layout, a bit messy, a little bit cluttered in my opinion. I think there's a better way to clean this up a bit, that make it more driver-centric, so that the driver has to reach all the way over here to press these buttons. And then at the same time, when you get in the car, what automatically happens is the climate will turn on just for you, not for the other person. So in order to turn that one on, that's going to, basically make the whole cabin cool or hot, depending on how you want it to be. It's more effective that way. This one is great to get it started, but this is what you really need to keep the whole cabin cool. And I wish that was on, by default, and not trying to save battery life by trying to have it, come out of just one when you get in. All right, Mr. Doug DeMuro, this is not an atomic button, a nuclear button. So it doesn't do anything in that regard. This is the bioweapons defense mode, and this is to protect the cabin from particulate using that giant HEPA filter, doing that. Okay, so that's what that does. So wildfires, things like that, whatever, chemical attack, this is going to help you be protected to some extent. Okay, or more importantly, more commonly, skunks. Come by a skunk, smells pretty bad near your house, in the woods, near where you're driving, you hit that button, it's going to go away. If you smoke, you hit that button, it goes away. If you do some other recreational activities, it's going to do that and get that out of the cabin. Baby goes to the bathroom, gets that out of the cabin. Fast food smelling up the car, gets that out of the cabin. So that button is your friend. It's not quite there for the Model 3 and Model Y. I think Model Y is coming soon, and maybe Model 3 as well, but they have the filter. But S and X have always had that. Speaking of what S and X have always had, S and X have always had suspension. And as of the Raven models, they've also had adaptive damping, not dampening, but damping. And this is just, again, helping the ride comfort along. Okay, so this is not new for the new Model S. If you're coming from a Model 3 or Model Y, this has been there for the Raven version of Model S and X. The suspension has always been there, but the adaptive damping has been there for the new sort of Raven versions, Raven suspension of Model S and Model X. So this is not new. So nothing on this screen is new. The only thing that this is all not new. This is all stuff that existed before with the Raven. We have this on our Model X. It's been here. Nothing is different here at all. So nothing new here. Nothing new anywhere, just the layout of things, right? Autopilot is still the same. You have the double click and single click. We choose double click. Locks are the same. You have your keys, walk away door locks, all that good stuff already there. Lights are the same. Display is the same. Everything is the same. This is just basically the same interface, version 10 that we have, just a modified version of it to accommodate certain things like the buttons for dash cam and Sentry mode, and all these buttons up top, which typically live statically on the screen here over the map, but they don't live there for this 2021 refresh as of this video. That could change. All right, so overall, it's pretty much the same. So if anyone's telling you this is something different, they're wrong. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the yoke. Radical design, feels good in the hand, wider than you would think, than you see in the pictures. It looks more rounded from the pictures, but it's actually deep, wide, and flat. But it feels good at times, not so great when you're making maneuvers in the car. When you're trying to make maneuvers in the car with, sharp, abrupt maneuvers, that's when it gets cumbersome, it gets clunky. I'll make another video more detailed about this, but just in general, I'll put my seatbelt on just so you can take a look at it. When you're making parking maneuvers, K-turns, U-turns, broken U-turns, those are where this becomes problematic for you, okay? Or when you need to do something really quick, like, oh, I need to get out the way, or I need to make this turn really quickly, it becomes a problem then. A lot of it is going to be muscle memory, just being able to remember, you know, not to grab the top of the wheel, but to grab this, which is fine, but you can even grab the bottom. But over time, you start to notice that the angular nature of this, I think it would have been better if they made this a little bit more rounded. It's not the dumbest idea. People are calling it the dumbest idea. People are saying it's stupid, it's silly, it's unsafe. I don't think that's the case. I think it was trying to provide a different experience, a future experience. And Tesla has a pretty good track record of giving us things we didn't think we would need, and we actually need them. So I'm happy to say that. What is problematic, as everyone has said, are these touch buttons, specifically the turn signals. Again, tabs on the back would have been good, or even having one on the right, one on the left would have been good. But the problem with the turn signals is that you tap it, it turns on, and then unless you make the turn that initiates the turn signal to go off, you have to turn it off manually. So think about highway lane changes. There's no quick press to do that. Tap it, it doesn't do anything. It either doesn't do anything or puts the turn signal on completely, and then you have to, you know, let it go. Okay, so that's really the biggest issue with this particular turn signal being where it is. Okay, I'll do that again just so you can see where the turn signal is. On, off, on, off. Okay, otherwise, I haven't really hit any of these buttons, the lights, the horn, haven't hit any of that. Voice navigation, I haven't done that by accident. It's really just the turn signals, and especially if you're trying to make a turn, right? If you're turned this way and you want to make sure you have your signal on, you have to press it this way. Or if you just made a turn and then need to make an immediate left turn and you want to hit this turn signal, you have to do it this way. And majority of the turns in this wheel have to be done with, or better done with one hand. So here's a good example. I'll go ahead and put it in drive and we'll go. So we're turning here in the parking lot, right? So far so good, right? Let's say I'm driving and, oh, I found a spot. First, I got to find the turn signal. Then I have to try to make the spot. Okay, there we go. Then go back and tighten up. And then tighten up is a problem. Back up into the space. Now, I've gotten the hang of it, so I'm a little bit better than most, but it can get some getting used to. Holding it from the bottom. Again, quick turn and then come back, and then it becomes this thing. And really what it comes down to is the nature of the flat bottom of it. This flat bottom just makes rotating it a little bit difficult. Now go right. See that? Go left, then go right. And then it's that little, let me get my footing, let me get my handle on the wheel, where it gets a little awkward. All right, again, turn left really quickly. Now signal to go right. I have to find the signal and then I can go right. So I can't always access things when I need to. And those are the scenarios that are the most frustrating. Everything else we can get used to. Everything else, you know, you can get, you know, driving regularly, making regular lane changes, making regular 90-degree turns with one hand like this, fine. Make another 90-degree turn like this, one hand, fine. But anything a little bit sharper than 90 degrees is where it gets cumbersome, where you're trying to take that, you're trying to get that that other hand in there, like right here, and I need to do this. But you can do it slow, fine, but when you need to do it fast, that's when your brain lets you down because you're thinking it's a wheel and it's not. Okay? So that's pretty much what that experience is like, and that's pretty much where all the controversy comes from in regards to the yoke. Again, just for example here, go left. Now go right. But you have to signal left. I'll go down that way. And now look, I have to go right. I can't signal right. I can't signal right unless I know how to do this. And then I can signal right. Okay. Left, go. Reverse. Now go straight. Okay, so these are the scenarios we're talking about. If I needed to evade someone in this, I can easily evade them. But if I have to make a quick evasion and then make another quick evasion, that's more than this, that's where it becomes a problem. That second turn of the wheel or the yoke is where it becomes problematic. That's where it becomes problematic. Everything else is perfectly fine and you can get used to. But that second quick turn or that double turn fast is a problem. However, I understand why they did this. I understand why they made this like this. The amount of power in this Plaid is unbelievable. The fact that it keeps pulling after 80 miles an hour is completely insane. The only way to grab it by its reins is to be able to have something like this where you can literally grab it by the reins and take control of it. Because if you just have a hand on the wheel or you're relaxing, you're not going to be able to pay attention and take care of this Plaid the way that it's supposed to be, and you could potentially hurt yourself or others. You have to have a good command of it. And I understand that, and I get that. And I think that makes sense for Tesla to do. What I think they should have done is just made this a little bit more rounder at the bottom to give me more of a something here where I could pull, as opposed to this, because it's more angular and it doesn't feel that good. Okay? So that's really what it comes down to when we talk about the yoke and what the controversy is. That's the truth about it. And again, no big deal. Tesla might come out with a steering wheel option. Maybe we can retrofit it. There's some options here. It doesn't have to just be that. While I'm on this particular step here, I'm in reverse. I have to go to park. The driving mechanism is also good because you don't have to actually put it in park. You could stop. Every time you stop this vehicle or you let the vehicle come to a complete stop using the regenerative braking, it goes into hold. From here, the car will automatically put the parking brake on if you take your seatbelt off or you open the door. So if you're reversing and you need to get out, or you're driving, you get into a spot and you need to get out, you don't actually have to push park. All you need to do, take your seatbelt off, automatically goes into park, okay? Put my seatbelt back on, put it into drive. It's already in drive because I have the auto shift out of park. And now if I want to put the brake on, I can just open the door. It's gonna beep at me, but I can open the door. So you don't have to actually press park to really do much of anything here. You can just get away with taking your seatbelt off, letting the hold do a majority of the work for you. Now, it's good practice to have the park button there and then press park and make sure it's in park, but the car is not gonna roll away. It won't roll away. It has double safeties in place, one with your seatbelt, another one with the door. So if you were accidentally have it in drive and you take your seatbelt off, it's automatically gonna go in park. That's a safety feature. Tesla implemented, very good feature. Or if you're driving already with your seatbelt off and you open the door, it will automatically put the parking brake on. So no worries about the car rolling. You don't really have to push park for much of anything unless you have to actually just stay where you are. If you're just somewhere and you want to stay where you are. The car will also automatically go into park if you're stagnant for too long. If you're in hold mode for too long, over a few minutes, it'll automatically go into park and maybe even shut the car off if you're too dormant. Okay, so just a quick update on that, just to make sure you understand the facts of that. And it's not a situation where you have to press park. All right, last but not least, we have the lovely performance of this, right? The Plaid, the drag strip mode and performance mode. So I have that calculating peak performance. Now, just a quick note, people always say, oh, it's going to Plaid speeds from Spaceballs, it's Plaid speed. The movie Spaceballs, they didn't intend to go to Plaid. That wasn't a speed that was designated for them. They were trying to make a mockery of Star Wars, and they wanted to go to ludicrous speed, which is their version of warp speed or faster than warp speed, to try to catch up to some people. And in doing so, they left the lever pushed too far forward in ludicrous speed, so much so that they actually went to Plaid, right? And that's really the reference here when we talk about going Plaid, is they went to Plaid. They went to Plaid and they saw a Plaid streak of, Plaid design going in space. That's the vehicle that they were trying, or the ship that they were trying to catch up to, saw the design fly past them because they went to Plaid. They were going so fast and they had to try to stop the ship in time. And then also when we talk about Tesla, and it lowering its suspension to get into the stance, it's cheetah stance, right? It poises itself like a cheetah. It's not cheetah mode, it's cheetah stance. Drag strip mode is the mode that's on here. Plaid mode, or driving, acceleration mode, is what you could see. Plaid here, but drag strip mode, right? And when you click on how to drag strip, so on and so forth, and right here it just says cheetah stance. Not cheetah mode, cheetah stance, just to make sure that's clear. So Plaid is the level of acceleration, how fast the car is going to go. And cheetah stance is the stance, the position the car's suspension needs to lower to in order to get the maximum acceleration. All right, so now you know, and knowing is half the battle. Peak performance is ready. Let's get ready to take it out for a launch. Go to a little bit of a back road, a little private road, so we don't break any laws and endanger anyone. But basically what happens is when you put this thing into performance mode, into drag strip mode, and you're ready to launch, you put your foot on the brake, hold it down on the accelerator, lowering, getting into that cheetah stance we just talked about, and then we get ready to launch. Head back on the seat, ready to launch. And ready. Ah!
My brains are going into my feet.
I'm sorry for the yelling. That is intense. That is intense. The amount of G-forces that your body experiences is pretty intense. It's hard to maintain yourself. It's hard to keep going above that, but effectively, it just keeps pulling. It just keeps pulling all the way to the max speed. All right, again, lined up nicely here. Gonna go for another one. This time I'll try to be quiet. Hold on. You really gotta put your foot down just to make sure it's engaged and make sure it's locked in and doesn't mess up. Preparing for launch again. Wait for someone to pass me. It'll hold for about 12 seconds and then I'll go. Pretty intense, pretty intense. The camera does it no justice. It's pretty intense. And the party trick here is that it can do that over and over again. I'm at about 83% right now, and we can do that over and over again without fail. And that's the beauty of it. So Teslas before, what they used to do is they used to basically allow you to get to that 0 to 60, and then they start to fade down. And they'd fade down significantly when you get to the hundreds. Obviously, we're not gonna be able to test that here on local roads. If we were in somewhere like Germany, hint, hint, we could do something a little bit more courageous in that regard. But that's effectively what it is. And let's take it out on the highway as well, because this also is great on the highway, and this is where the Yoke also shines on the highway as well. Just being able to maneuver through the highway. But again, the performance is there. It's there over and over again as you need it. And that's the party trick here. That's the beauty. That's what makes it better than the previous Teslas, is the fact that it can repeat this performance over and over again. And then when we talk about power fade and power degradation through the life of the battery, when you go from, through the power of the battery, the state of charge of the battery, where you go from, 100% charge being the most power, and then getting down to something like 50 or 30 or even 20, the power fade is not that noticeable. It's not that noticeable like it was in the other ones. In the other ones, it was very noticeable. And you could, when you get down below 60%, you're gonna feel like you're in a different car. You're gonna feel like you're in sort of a long range car as opposed to a performance car. And that was really the big issue there. But here, again, pulling, see this car here, I'm pulling right past it. And then again, 70, I'm still pulling past it. Okay, so I can fly by that car, no problem, catch up to it, no problem. And that's great performance here. All right, so this is a great job on Tesla. This is why this is the ultimate Tesla. This is why if you only need to have one car, this is the car to have. And from a performance standpoint, braking is also good as well. Brakes do start to fade, but brakes do start to fade. What happens is, as you drive this car and it goes super fast, it's also heavy. So it needs substantial brakes to be able to brake this. And Elon has mentioned this as well. And this was also one of the differences between the Plaid and the Plaid Plus, was just the ability for it to be able to have better brakes and better, obviously a bigger battery, but also better brakes as well. So that might be an option that's made available for some owners to get better brakes. But right now, the brakes right now, they're pretty good for day-to-day use. But on a performance perspective, if you're going around the track, they will start to fade. They will start to let you down a little bit. And that's why I think some people like Unplugged Performance have better brakes when they're actually trying to break records and do things like that. All right. So otherwise, performance is rock solid. Again, the party trick being that it's able to do repeated performance over and over again. And then also the fact that it also maintains little battery degradation, or excuse me, power fade, I should say, power fade as the battery gets lower in the state of charge. Yes, it fades, but it's not as noticeable. So instead of going from an ultimate Plaid with high-end performance, maybe when you get down to 30% or 20%, you're at a low-level version of that, where you go, instead of 2 seconds 0 to 60, maybe you're going 2.3 seconds 0 to 60 or something like that. All right, so that's the performance. All right, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Anything I might have missed, I might have wanted to touch on, I can make a separate video for it. I'm going to talk more in depth about the Yoke as well. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you like the new Model S? Do you not like the new Model S? What do you think they could have changed? Again, just better differentiation between the standard version and the Plaid would have been great. But otherwise, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. Until the next time, enjoy your day, enjoy your Tesla, enjoy your Plaid.